Hey everybody, it is Erin, and I am going to do a few back to school item hacks, meaning things that are going up, back to school stuff, which is going to be starting to come right around the corner. All these supplies are going to be at a really good discount. They're going to be in mass quantities, which is fantastic. And how can you use this in your crafty life? Why is this a needed thing? Why do you need to pick them up? And what fun things can you do with them? So these are like back to school crafty hacks. So let's take a look. I got all these things from the Dollar Tree. Down below are my affiliate links specifically for the Dollar Tree items, and I'm going to explain why if you order online at the Dollar Tree, not that you really have to, I'm not trying to push, but it's just saying that if you wanted to order on bulk, then it's a good way to kind of get some big teacher gifts out of the way, and they ship for free at your local Dollar Tree, so you don't have to pay for shipping, so that's pretty awesome. So take a look below at all the amazing little links I have for all these fun items. So I'm going to kind of clear off and show you one piece at a time. Okay, there's really no good way to show this to you standing up, so I'm going to show it to you this way. This right here is actually called a book bin, but to me it is a, let's put my scrapbook magazines in there. Some of these are ones I picked up from ages ago. Some of these are ones that I was in, that I've been published in and I wanted to keep. What I have not done yet, and this is something I want to do, and these are sold individually, and again, remember everything is $1 there, so that's pretty darn awesome. You could easily take this book bin and you could gesso over the whole thing, and you could stencil it, you can paint it, you can cut papers specifically to the size and glue it to that. You could do all kinds, you could decoupage on top of this. I mean, just think of all the things. I actually found a picture that somebody did something cool to it right here. So ideas are endless. So many fun things you can do. You can add fun decorative things to the front, and look how wonderfully this stands with my magazines in there. The other thing you could use for this is if you've got a whole bunch of your art journals and they're just kind of scattering around, this is a good storage to stick your art journals in. Coming right out are all of these clear binders. They're selling them one at a time. This is a 1-inch binder. What I'm using right now is I have the same thing, but what I'm missing is I don't have a front cover. I stole this from my computer because it was an old computer and it had booklets and stuff. This is my planner. What I do is I print out planner pages that are 8.5 by 11, and then I hole punch them and stick them in here. But I think I'm going to switch to this one. Number one, this little piece in here is getting a little small, and I like to fit a few more. This is back to March, but I love this page, so I wanted to keep it in here. But I do put some other things in the back, and I've spilled so much crap on this, it's not even funny. I love the fact that it's got pockets in here, but I also can put things in here, and this one doesn't have that capability. So this is an awesome use for that. You could also use this to store stuff. I have used binders for storing of stencils and dies and all kinds of stuff, and here's one of my die storage. And I actually used a smaller one, but if you used a bigger one, it would give you even more room to store your dies. All right, so they have all different kinds of pens and markers and things like that. So here's how I would use them. Number one, highlighters of all types I love to use in my planners, and here's an example. This is my planner month for June, and I didn't decorate it, overly decorate it, because I just got so completely swamped and I just did not have time to go like that in it. But some of the fun things I like to do with highlighters, and this comes as a pack of 4, and there are a bunch of different colors, so just kind of take a look at that. So when you're doing your highlighters, you can easily doodle. I mean, little fun doodles, you can sit there and you can kind of doodle in there, and it adds kind of a fun bright color, and I'm just quickly doing them. So that's kind of a fun thing all in itself. Pens, this comes as a pack of 10. And again, these are black pens, but I think they also came in blue too. So I went through and I've already like marked out all my months. I mean, how can you not use a pen? And not just for planners, but in scrapbooking, I always journal with stuff. And sometimes I just want a regular pen. If I'm doing journaling, if I'm doing some doodling in my, if I'm doing a quick sketch for something, if I'm marking out my measurements for cutting, I want to put a mark on it, I like to grab a pen for that. I always have pens, and black is nice because it shows up nicely, and it kind of is just to kind of show you. I mean, it's just an easy little black pen, but it's also great for doodling. I mean, add some fun doodles in black and it goes with everything. So that's kind of a cool way to do it. Lastly, and I thought this was a pretty cool find, they had colored pens. Now, keep in mind, remember, these are all $1, and this was a pack of colored pens. They call them, what do they call them? Fashion click pens, because click. Now, that's one of the favorite things ever. Click. I could sit there and, you know, it's one of those fidget things. You just do that over and over. Yeah, that's just me. I remember doing that a lot when I was in school. So not only are the pens are colored, but they're colored too. Look, orange. See, I already am playing with it. And then there's pink. And then there's the blue, but it's a pretty teal. Oh, this one I haven't even started yet. It's a pretty teal blue. It's not just like that standard dark blue. And then there's green. Isn't that a pretty green? And I love those 4 colors. Those are absolutely awesome. And those came as an 8-pack. So you got 2, and I think my daughter already hijacked my pink and my other blue, but you got 2 of every color. So those were kind of fun. These would also be great, not just for planners, but for your art journals, for anything you would want to use a colored pen in your crafty world. These are fantastic because they're a color already, but you can obviously write with them, and you can do, big letter art and stuff like that. So lots of fun things that you can use with all the different types of highlighters, black and blue pens, and some fun colored pens, because why not? We all love some color. Okay, hack number 4 are Post-it notes. Now this came as a 2-pack of Post-it notes, and I gotta show you this. Take a look. It has a design on it. Isn't that the coolest thing ever? The green was plain, but this one had a cool design. And here's one of the things I love to do in my planner is I like to put Post-it notes on the side because maybe it's the theme I'm working on for that week. And so I will cut the Post-it note. I will just take one. And I just happen to have a pair of scissors right here. If you could see my desk just off camera, it's like I shoved all my crap just off of it. There's so much stuff just off camera. You wouldn't even be, it's bad. I need to clean. Anyway, so I will take my Post-it notes and I will cut them, and I'm just doing a very rough cut. You could even put them in your paper trimmer, and depending on what you want, you can cut them and see this is how I get my little banners that are right here. And you could do that down here. It's a fun way to take a standard size Post-it, and this one already has a pretty design. You could also, let's say you wanted to put a Post-it just to fill up this whole square. You could take it, remember where your sticky side is, and cut it. And I know I just did a rough cut, but therefore it fits inside there. So think about all of those little Post-its that are out there, and they're not even true Post-its. These are, which means the sticky is fantastic. Think of all the Post-its that are out there that are decorative and stuff, but you get like 5, and then you paid $1.50 for like maybe a panel of 5 or 6, and that's all you got. And they may not be the size that you really want, but they're kind of cool and fun. And I am a sucker for Post-it notes, let me tell you, or for sticky notes in general. But look how many are in here. That's awesome. And you know their quality because they came from there. So you get a 2-pack, and there were other colors. This is just the one that I happen to pick up, but they are so fun. If you do, like I do a lot of these where you're doing the swaps with people, like I do the planner swaps, I might actually go online myself and pick up a whole bunch of these in fun colors, and then I would be able to send everybody a fun Post-it note, like just like this, as part of their Happy Mail. So I might do that just for like Happy Mail planner stuff. Okay, so here's another cool use for Post-it notes, and it's for masking. So not only can you use the Post-it notes for decoration, but there's actually a technical use to them as well. So here's one version of masking that you can do. You take your stamp, and I'm just using a Brutus Monroe. This is an old, not old, this is a cute little stamp. I think it was part of the Stamp of the Month Club, and it is all got cute little eggs on it, and I think it's called Hello Spring. I'll link it down there too. And what you're going to do is you go ahead and I'm just using a scrap piece of paper just to show you the technique. You are first going to, and I already did this as you can see, is you're going to stamp it on a piece of Post-it note. Make sure you stamp it to where the sticky part is. That's the whole point, right? Then you are going to go ahead and stamp wherever it is on your card, your finished project. Boom. You take your sticky note and you cover up exactly where you put your stamp. Now, if you've got stamp and die sets, this part right here, instead of having to fussy cut it out, you would be able to do it with your die set. So just kind of keep that in mind. Now, if you had a stamp, like this is an oval, so it's super easy to cut up. But if you had a stamp that was a pain in the butt to fussy cut, and you did not have a Scan and Cut by Brother or a stamp and die set, you could definitely keep it and just pop it back inside the little baggie with your stamps. That way you don't lose your little masking thing. Oops. All right, so ink up your stamp. You're then going to go ahead and stamp. And make sure you push hard, because not only are you doing over top one piece of paper, you're doing off a second. But the Post-it notes, you know, the sticky notes, they're pretty thin. So it's a pretty easy way of doing it. Take your next stamp And I'm just doing a really rough version. And here's where the cool thing happens. It looks like they're hiding behind now. So it gives you that dimensional. I'm just going to show you. So you see how it looks like the eggs from that I stamped second are hiding behind. It's because I covered up the first one, and you can see where that image laid. Think of the possibilities of that. If you've never done this technique, it's pretty darn awesome. All right, technique number 2. This time I took out 2 little eggs, and I'm going to do just a couple of them, and I'm going to lay them next to each other. Again, they are sticky notes. I'm not worried about design, so all I did is I just did the same thing. I took the first one I had and I stamped and cut the second one out. And if you did this over a white background, or let's say you did a colored background, you then can take mists, you can take more ink, and what we're working on is just a completely different technique here. So I'm just inking the whole thing up, making kind of a fun background. Again, this is just scratch paper that I had laying around. And then you pull this off, and then what you have left is a reverse image. So I have now left the white space. I could technically now come back because it's completely white. And either I could leave it white and it just becomes a white space, or now I could go back and I could stamp into these spaces. And I could do the same thing again. Put my little sticky note on top, change it out, stick my other stamp on top, do the reverse stamp on that. You know, this time I'm flipping around. Of course, I got stuck there. Flipping. Oh, I did that backwards, didn't I? Oops. Okay, now I'm going to put this guy here. There we go. I'm a little slow today. And there it is. And so wherever they were, now you could have stamped them first, then covered them up. But what if you just wanted to leave the white impression blank? You didn't want to actually stamp in there. So there's a couple of different ways you could do that. But the sticky notes, by covering it up, gives you that impression that there's nothing there anymore. It's whiting it out. Again, with mists and sprays, it's all kinds. You can also, and I've seen this done before, you've got a big giant scrapbook layout and you want to add the flicks of paint all over it. You take your sticky notes and you cover up the areas that you do not want to have paint on. Maybe it's the picture. Maybe it's some embellishments that you just don't want to have covered. Before I get my scrap space all completely disgusting, I'm going to pull out one of my mats. So I don't want to have any paint on anything that's below here now. I'm going to put down my sticky notes, cover them up completely, flick wherever I want the color. I really want a whole lot of color right here. I really want a whole lot of color right there. But I didn't want anything in between. I really want to cover that up. Lift it up. And look, wherever my sticky note was, there was no color now. So it's a way of adding the flicking technique without covering it all up. Or you could spray. I mean, wherever it is that you did not want to have color, now there's no color. I've completely covered it up. You might have a little bit of saturation around the edges, so just kind of be careful about that. And then guess what? These are garbage and it's no big deal. The main part of my project is what I want to keep anyway, not this part. So there are so many uses for Post-it notes as decorative pieces. And lastly, let's say you only get colored pieces, but you want to make cute Post-it notes that have designs on them. Make your own. It is so simple, and I know I keep grabbing the same stamp sets because it's right here. You want to make your own little Post-it notes that are cute and fun and decorative, and maybe you're making them as a gift. You could do a whole bunch. I'm going to do it on the pink because it already has a little design, but pretend it didn't. But if it didn't have a design, you're going to go in, you're going to say, "Hello, Spring." I know I just kind of did that right off the edge, and I should have stuck my little egg on there as well. And then you go in, and boom, there's your little, and look, I could even make it with this. I can do this technique with it too. I mean, there's so many possibilities here. It's all good fun. So I want to go in and I want to do my layered effect on my Post-it note. So now I have a really sweet little Post-it note. And if I don't like all that empty space, I'm going to cut it down to size. Who says I cannot make it whatever I want? Again, super rough cut. You could so completely make these with your Erin Condren or whatever, the vertical happy planner. You could cut your Post-it note to the size that you wanted to already. I mean, get this through a guillotine or something like that, and then go have fun and stamp. And it's a great way to use up some of your stamps to go with your planners, and kind of a dual, double way of doing it. So it's just kind of another fun technique. All right, here's the next one, composition books and spiral notebooks. Now, some of them, this is your standard one. I think this is what they call the fashion one. And then they also have the spiral notebooks, which are also, I think this was considered like a fashion spiral one. I don't know. But they're single, as you can tell here. Again, they're $1 each. So that's fantastic. And what can you do with these? Now, I have seen numerous times where people will use this just for a journal. Not as an art journal, but just as a writing journal. So they will take the front covers of these and decorate them up, just like you see here. So that was just a few examples I've seen. I've actually done one where I've covered it in felt, sticker, a flower thing on the front or something like that. I don't even know where that thing is. I think I gave it away as a present a long time ago. And I grabbed 2 different sizes. I got one for my daughter, but I grabbed 2 different sizes because I wasn't sure which one I liked better, and I'll tell you why. In this spiral one, if I didn't want to have it bleed, see how there's a spiral and it's disconnected between the two, I wouldn't have a bleed from one to the other. And I know these papers are kind of thin, so what I do is I end up gluing 4 to 5 sheets together. And if you think about it, there is, I mean, how many pages are in here? It says there's 70 sheets. So I don't make art journal pages every day, but if I did, even if I glued, let's say, I don't know, 3 pages together, that's still going to give me a ton. I am not going to do the math on that right now, but if I glued 7 sheets together, that would be easy. 10 art journal pages that are in here, and that's only one side. I still would have the back side to do. So just put some wax paper on the back side of this. You could easily roll this over so you don't have to worry about it bleeding from one side. Stick your wax paper on the inside. You might have a little bit here, but if you put the wax paper, not a big deal. You also have just paper now, and the uses for paper with mixed media is huge. The idea that it's already got the lines in it, it's a nice thin paper. You can decoupage with this. You can have so much fun with just this paper, so that's kind of fun in itself. So that's one possibility for this. For these kinds of notebooks, like I said, I got a pretty design in case you didn't want to decorate it up. Is maybe you want a smaller, more compact without the spiral for your art journal page, or just for your journal in general. Again, they are thin pages, so I would glue them together. Probably glue, you know, 3 or 4, and then that gives you a bigger base. To make sure they don't bleed, stick washi tape right here and right here, and then you just paint over that. And then you just put your, you know, your wax paper between the two, and then you have a nice, you know, space to do your art journal page. That's another fun way to do that. And it's nice and compact. It's not as big as this one. And, you know, the spirals, maybe you don't like that. Maybe you like it more of a stitched bound book. Again, you can still rip pages out of this. You can have all kinds of fun. You can repaint the front. You also have the inside cover you can work with, and the inside cover of this that you can work with. So these are coming out, and it's hard to find these particular things once the school supply stuff is kind of done. So now is a good time to pick them up. I originally, how I used this composition book when I said I covered it with felt and had some fun, is it was part of like a ladies group, and somebody was in charge of doing a craft. And she was smart enough to go through and she bulk bought, because I think there was about 60 ladies in our group. So she had to buy 60 of these composition books. And she knew that when back to school was going back into play is when all these books were going back, were going to be easy to find. She would not have a problem getting 60 of them. And now how you would do it is you would go online and order 60 of them online in whatever color scheme that you wanted to, and then just pick it up from Dollar Tree because it's free shipping. And you wouldn't have to worry about 60 of them, because she had to go to 4 different stores to get all 60. That's another easy way around it. If you have to plan a craft ahead of time, order online and get it done. So easy, so fast. And that's what she would have done now, but at the time that wasn't available, because this was a few years ago that she was doing this. This is also great for kids. VBS next year. Think about that. If you know that you're going to be in charge of VBS the next year and you need some kind of fun crafts for your kids to do, if you've got that tweener group or even the older kids, this is a fun way of getting some pretty cheap stuff for not that much money. So, and it's a fun craft. You can have so much fun with what you want to put in the front of your composition book. You can even glue, you know, like your lesson plans or whatever it is that are on the inside of this. All right, I also picked up some crayons and some pencils. Now, beyond your kids, obviously this is going to be a big thing right now because your kids are going to need pencils and crayons for school, but you can do all kinds of really cool back to teacher gifts. And so now's the time when you want to go pick those things up because they're cheaper and you can get them. Now, everybody's seen the artwork where you take the crayons and you melt them just like this. that's a fun way of using crayons for art. But you can also, and this works for the pencils as well, you take a jar and you glue the pencils around it, and then it becomes like a back to teacher gift, just like you see here. So you can do it with crayons or for pencils. It's completely a decorative thing. You cannot use them, but think how sweet that is. It could also be an end of the year teacher gift, but you picked it up really cheap right now. So that's kind of fun, because sometimes you don't find them in big bulk later on in the year. Another fun thing you can do, and this could be a very cheap and easy back to school teacher gift. Think about how many times in the school year you're already going to give probably supplies to your teachers, but what's something that runs out or gets yucky by the end of the year? Crayons, pencils. Those are things that kind of go by the wayside. You could even do this for pens too. You buy a pack of pencils, you wrap a cute little bow around it, you stick a little tag and say, have a great year. And it's the gift that the kids give to the teacher. Instead of giving an apple, you give them something that they're going to end up using. It's not part of the class supplies that your kid has to bring to school, because all my kids have like a list of things they have to bring. This is something you're giving to the teacher as a, hey, thanks for having my kid, and here's some extra stuff for down the line. So that's one thing you could do. You could do the same thing for crayons if you've got younger kids. I've got kids in elementary, and I have my first one going to middle school. So I have yet to see what the new supply list is going to be for that. But I always know that crayons and pencils were something that they were wanting as the year went along, because everything got kind of yuck as they went along. Because they're out right now in cheap, you can get them for cheap, and you can also buy them in bulk and pick them up from the store. So that's pretty fun. So these were a pack of 24, which I love, and these are a pack of 64. So you're not just getting a little crayon set, you're getting a big giant crayon set for $1. I remember going to some of the other stores and just the little like 24 packs of crayons were 99 cents. This is 64. That's awesome. I love that. So don't forget to check out the Dollar Tree and see what you can get for $1. Right now, all these cool pencil cases are out, and to me, this is just begging for crafty storage, and I have already hijacked it for my dies. Now, I do have a die storage so I can see them easy, but I'm about to go out of town, and I need to take these dies with me for a craft show, and instead of having them in something, because I'm afraid if I put them in plastic, they're going to poke through, I threw them in here, and they fit really beautifully. So this has now become my little die storage. In the front here, I just need to put it in, this is my little poker. And whenever I have my die storage, you know how you always have those little holes and you have to poke through? Well, this fits just perfectly. If you don't have a little poker, a thumbtack works great, but now I can throw this in here, and so when I'm ready to use it, it's ready to go. So to me, this is like super easy, compact. It fits because it's a nice long size. It actually has 2 storage, but think of what else that you would want to take for crafty storage if you were going to be going somewhere, if you were going to a crop or whatever. You could throw your pens in here, because obviously this is made for a pencil case, but think of other crafty, small little crafty things that you can throw in these things, and then go back and you could get, you know, one of these. This could be another hack. You put, maybe you get like 4 of these, and you get a few binders, and you put all of your dies that are of a certain brand in one pocket. Ta-da! You then get another pocket, and I'm sure there's more colors. I think I just saw the green when I went. Maybe you want to sort them by brands. Maybe you want to sort your dies by, oh, I don't know, more like, okay, themes. So all Christmassy dies are in one thing. Maybe you sort some of your stamps and dies together. I know you can't see them, but they're not going to poke through because it's a material, and because if you get different colors of zipper pouches, you can put different colors of in here. And then you can also pick up a couple of extra binders, because maybe you sort them by the binder and you put the name of what stuff is in there. So it's kind of a fun way of sorting something. You could also do your stamps this way. I mean, there's so many things that you could store this way that would make your life easy. So that's kind of fun. You can also, here's a second option. Again, going with the binder again. I'm going to be using this for my planner, so maybe I want to put my Post-it notes that I want to use, all my fun little stickers. I don't want to have them loose and floating around. So in the back of my planner, as I poke this back in here, pretend I have my planner stuff here. And then in here is where I have all my fun little Post-its and stickers and whatnot, and then I'm not losing them. And then in here, I put my fun pens, because maybe I want to take my planner with me or something. So lots of fun uses for this little guy in all of your crafty storage. So I absolutely love that. All right, this is a pretty fun find. So this little thing is an index card, and in here is 60 counts of pages, but then also has little plastic flappy things that are in there. And this front plastic piece, you're gonna get rid of this. This is not gonna stay, so that's gonna go. And they're 3.5 by 7 by 5 by 2. So they're they're the standard index card size. They're on a spiral, which I think is absolutely fun. But you can also take them off because they're perforated. So here is my concept behind this. Two things that I could use this for. Number one, think about the ideas about a little mini book on this. If I did not want to do every single one of these pages, this could be like a mini book in progress. Maybe I have a cool technique I want to try and I just want to do it on here, which also leads to concept number 2, which is the index card a day. Think about the fact that you can just pull this off here, you do your artwork right here, you let it dry, and then you put it back into the fold. And you don't have to worry about all these index cards all over the place. It's right in here. You also have these really cool pages, which are, look at that. And I can stick this here. So if I need a page to dry, let's say I did my art journal in this thing, I could take one here. I could pop this little guy out there. Stick this in here. And now I have, look at that. I have a plastic sheet. It's not 100%, but it's pretty darn close. I knew exactly where I was in my mini book. If I wanted to spray gesso, I probably would do a little bit bigger. But once I'm done and I feel like it's dry, I would probably leave these little dividers in here for a little while until I knew it was super, super dry. And then I would move along to the next page. Super simple. And there's 3 of them. So that's, I think, is kind of fun. There was some other colors of this, but I thought I kind of like the green. So I just kind of went with that. And it's in a spiral. It's super compact. If I wanted to take this with me, let's say if I wanted to go on the road and I wanted to do some fun doodles or something, this is so compact that I could take this with me if I was going on a trip and I just wanted to do some arting. Or if I wanted to show off some of the artwork that I was doing, let's say at a conference, and people wanted to see the kind of stuff that I was doing, I could take this and it would already have pieces in, and then I could add to it. So it's nice and compact as like a mini art journal, tiny art journal, because they're small little pages. So I just thought that was kind of fun. All right, so everybody knows that you can obviously get paper. This happens to be the college rules sheet. There's 200 sheets in here, and I think that's pretty darn awesome. So what can you use with paper in crafting or in the art world? Number one, well, we always need to jot some ideas down, and having just some loose leaf paper hanging around is kind of fun. Number 2, look at the lines on this. This stuff is so cool when it comes to decoupage. There's so many fun techniques out there when it comes to using it. Looks like a school, but it's not. You could paint, glue this onto something. You can cut out sections and, add some adhesive to the back of this and put it in your, whatever journal you want to. So because the lines are there, it kind of leads to having something fun. It's thin, but you can glue them together. And so there's just a lot of uses. Number 1, you can just write in it. Number 2, if you use up a few, it was really darn cheap. It wasn't expensive paper that you were messing up, that you got some expensive scrapbook paper that looked like it was lines. No, it was regular old paper. If your kids need some, boom, here you go. Makes life easy. So this is another thing. You could also, because paper is something that the kids always run out of on school, this could also be one of those little teacher gifts that you wrap the bow around and you say, happy back to school. Maybe you take the paper and a set of pencils per teacher. Mind you, this cost you $2 a teacher. That's not breaking the bank. And you tie a cute little bow, you add a tag, or maybe you add a sticky note right here, just put out a printable or something and stick it to this and say, hope you have a great year. Thanks for, helping out with the kids or something. And this is their little back to school teacher gift that the kids give the teacher. You give them kind of a little survival kit of, in case your kids run out of crap. Because teachers always have a hard time getting some school supplies. Why not help them out a little bit by giving them something that they will need in the classroom? So kind of giving back. From an ex-teacher, this would have kind of been fun to have a few extra supplies. Or maybe it's a mid-school year gift. You're giving it at Christmas time. Instead of giving them a gift certificate, you're giving them some school supplies so they don't have to go out and buy it. Lots of fun ways to do it and make it personal too and get your kids involved. So thanks for stopping by and checking out my back to school crafty hacks. All of these supplies are super easy to find. Dollar Tree has them all. Different colors and maybe a little bit different selections depending on where you are in the country and also what supplies are left because things are starting to go pretty darn quick. But online you can get them in bulk, especially if you need to buy more than a couple. This is the best way and they will ship it to free to your store. So check out below for all my affiliate links. Affiliate links do not cost you anything more. It just gives me a little bit money back when it to help making these fun crafty videos for you. So subscribe and I'll see you guys again soon. Bye bye.